Tonight, we're going to talk about one of the cases that I think is one of the most compelling arguments for a true feral person in Appalachia, and that is the story of the Cumberland Mountain Wildman. Now, this story first appeared in a newspaper years after the Civil War, and it was reported by a former captain under General Braxton Bragg. And this was in the days preceding the Battle of Chickamauga, directly preceding the Battle of Chickamauga. They were stationed near Bridgeport and Stevenson in the North Alabama foothills. And as a matter of fact, the captain was stationed in the high ground overlooking Bridgeport and Stevenson with the rear guard. Well, starting the night that they first got there, one of his sentries, see, they had a perimeter around the camp, and every so often there would be a post with a sentry assigned to it, at regular intervals. Well, the next morning, one of the sentries is missing from their post. Their weapon is still there. Their gear is still there. There seems to be signs of a struggle, but no sign of them. It's noted. It happens again the second night, even after that soldier had been notified of what had happened before, and there was heightened alert. It happened again. Well, this continued in happening every night for several nights until a total of 5 men had disappeared, with varying, levels of being seasoned and loyal. So some of these were his veterans and some of his most trusted guys. So he eventually organized a posse within his unit of 10 men, and they all waited at very close intervals to this one post where this all had been happening at. And a melee ensued. They heard a commotion, and they encountered this man a giant of a man, about 6.5 foot tall, 250 pounds, and they said he was just all muscle and completely feral. Like he was wearing tatters, rags for clothes, and had just long hair and unkempt beard, and just looked living like a total savage. It said it took all 10 of those men to subdue him, but they finally did subdue him. They bound him. They tried to interrogate him to find out the whereabouts of the men who had been taken. He would not talk. He only made guttural noises and never spoke. Well, they decided to switch tactics. This was getting them nowhere, so they decided to release him, and they quietly pursued behind him to see where he would go. And sure enough, they said he only looked back once, and that was when he was near the summit of the mountain, and he was near a cave and about to go in when he noticed that he had been followed. And instead of go back to being captured again, he chose to leap off a nearby precipice to try to escape. Well, he was not successful in escaping. Well, upon examining this cave, they did find the missing soldiers. None of them had been harmed. They were all bound and tied up, and they had not been fed. They'd been starved for several days now, but none of them had been harmed. But this guy had never spoken. Well, come to find out after the fact that this guy had indeed, been a regular guy at one point. He was a recluse that lived up in the mountains. His name was Bill Patton, and he was a Union sympathizer, but he wanted no part of the war. He refused to voluntarily join the Confederate Army. Well, this home guard had came across him one day when he went into town to do some trading, and they captured him. He was able to escape, but there was a lot of ensuing pandemonium. He received a very severe injury in this scuffle with the home guard, and anything that was human that was left in the guy disappeared at that point. He just did not have the faculties left anymore after the incident. He did heal from the wound. It was said to be made by a saber, but he went and living like a total caveman, living up in the nearby caves. But that's been the story of the wild man of Cumberland Mountain. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for all your thoughts and prayers. The procedure went great yesterday. As a matter of fact, I guess the anesthesia was still wearing on me. I fell asleep last night doing research for this story. I never even started recording it, but thank you guys for all your thoughts and prayers. That's been Jay's Haunted Appalachia for tonight. Keep sending me your stories and suggestions, guys, and keep Appalachia haunted, y'all.